Joon-woo was engrossed in a game of League of Legends when his teammate's frantic message shattered his concentration. He yanked off his headphones and wandered into the living room, just as his phone buzzed with a disaster alert. Outside, a chorus of terrified screams erupted. Joon-woo, bewildered, moved towards the window. He saw people sprinting in every direction, their faces etched with terror. The neighborhood, moments before peaceful, had descended into utter chaos. A fire engine, seemingly without a driver, careened wildly down the street. Then, he witnessed something truly disturbing. A woman, brandishing a kitchen knife, stalked towards her daughter, who in turn lunged at her mother with savage ferocity. Joon-woo stood frozen, paralyzed by the horrific scene unfolding before him. More chilling screams echoed from beyond his apartment door. He cautiously peered through the peephole, but the hallway was deserted. Overcome by a morbid curiosity, he cracked open the door, only to have his next-door neighbor shove his way inside, babbling about his roommate going insane and begging for refuge. Joon-woo, though hesitant, allowed him to use the bathroom. As the neighbor was inside, the TV news flashed a horrifying bulletin. A zombie virus had swept across South Korea. Infection was spread through bites and scratches. Joon-woo, his heart pounding, grabbed a sharp kitchen knife for self-defense. When the neighbor emerged from the bathroom, Joon-woo ordered him to leave immediately. The neighbor protested, insisting he was fine, but his eyes had turned a disturbing shade of red, and his body began to convulse in unnatural ways. Within seconds, he transformed into a grotesque, snarling zombie, lunging at Joon-woo with terrifying speed. Joon-woo, fueled by adrenaline, managed to shove the creature back out the door and slammed it shut, using the refrigerator as a makeshift barricade. Just as he was about to call his family, he received a text message from his parents. They were stranded and unable to come home, urging him to survive at all costs. Joon-woo was now completely alone, facing an unimaginable nightmare. He had no idea how long he could hold out. He meticulously organized his meager food supplies, trying to make them last. Early the next morning, he cautiously launched his drone to survey the situation outside. The aerial view revealed a scene of utter devastation. The entire neighborhood was overrun with zombies. Every floor, every apartment was infested. That night, the sound of gunshots jolted him awake. He crawled to the window and watched in horror as a female police officer was swarmed and devoured by a horde of ravenous zombies. Suddenly, a violent banging at his door sent a fresh wave of fear through him. Trembling, he grabbed his baseball bat and cautiously approached the door. A zombie had somehow managed to break into his apartment. He desperately tried to hold the refrigerator against the door, but the zombie's strength was too much for him. In a moment of inspiration, Joon-woo sprinted towards a balcony, clambered over the railing, and just as the zombie lunged, he dodged the attack, sending the creature tumbling down to its death. Although he had narrowly escaped, the refrigerator and his remaining food were destroyed. He quickly sealed off his windows with makeshift barriers, knowing he was now facing not only the zombies, but also the grim prospect of starvation. He had no idea how long he could survive. After a grueling 15 days, Joon-woo began to experience vivid hallucinations. He imagined his parents returning home, safe and sound, but the vision quickly vanished, leaving him more heartbroken than ever. He collapsed to the floor, sobbing in despair. Just when he thought he could take no more, a voice message arrived on his phone, a glimmer of hope in the darkness. It was from his parents, but the signal inside his apartment was too weak. Joon-woo, risking everything, extended his phone out the window, desperately trying to get a signal. Finally, a faint signal appeared, but it was their final message. Something terrible had happened to them. Already teetering on the edge of despair, Joon-woo's heart turned to ice. He had lost all will to live. He made the agonizing decision to end his own life. Just as he kicked away the chair, a beam of red laser light flashed across his face. To his astonishment, he saw another person alive in the building across from his. He fought his way free from the noose, a surge of adrenaline coursing through him. As he got closer, he saw that it was a young woman. After a brief, cautious exchange, the woman told him they could talk more the next morning at 7 a.m. But when Joon-woo woke up, it was already 11 a.m. Thankfully, the woman, Yoo-bin, had been watching him. Seeing that he was hungry, She devised a plan to get him some food. She tied a baseball to a rope and threw it across, but her strength wasn't enough, and it landed on the rain canopy below. Joon-woo, remembering his drone, skillfully maneuvered it to grab the rope and deliver it to Yoo-bin. Once she had secured the rope, she sent him a portion of her rations. As Joon-woo was eating, he suddenly sensed something was wrong. A firefighter who had turned into a zombie was pulling on the rope that Yoo-bin had thrown down. The zombie, still driven by habits from its former life, pulled hard on the rope, causing Yoo-bin to fall unconscious. The zombie then began dragging the rope towards her apartment building. Joon-woo desperately wanted to help, but the distance was too great. He quickly grabbed his drone, hoping to disrupt the zombie's progress. He flew the drone at the zombie, trying to distract it, but the zombie swatted the drone out of the air, destroying it. Just as the zombie was about to climb over Yoo-bin's balcony, she regained consciousness and, with a single, powerful blow, knocked the zombie down. Seeing Yoo-bin safe, Joon-woo felt a wave of relief. But the food Yoo-bin had given him was running low. Joon-woo knew he had to take a risk and venture outside to gather more supplies. Otherwise, he would eventually starve to death. He armed himself with his baseball bat and cautiously opened his apartment door. The hallway was clear. He found his neighbor's body and retrieved his keys. Entering the neighbor's apartment, he discovered another corpse lying on the bed. He threw a shoe at it, but there was no response. Confident that it was safe, he began searching the apartment for supplies. Opening the refrigerator, he was met with a foul, putrid smell. Despite the stench, he managed to find a jar of peanut butter and an unopened box of biscuits. He also noticed that his neighbor was an avid mountaineer, so there might be some useful equipment around. After rummaging through the apartment, he found 2 walkie-talkies. But just as he was about to leave, a zombie suddenly appeared behind him and pounced. Joon-woo pushed the zombie away and ran desperately out of the apartment. He knew he had to share the hard-earned supplies with Yoo-bin. He sent one of the walkie-talkies across to her. Finally, they could communicate. They talked for a long time, catching up after being isolated for so long. But their brief moment of happiness was shattered when the zombies in the building suddenly became agitated. The 2 of them huddled on the floor, afraid to make a sound. Yoo-bin accidentally knocked something over, alerting the zombies to their presence. As the zombies closed in, Joon-woo frantically asked Yoo-bin for her apartment number. Using his knowledge of the building's layout, he connected the phone in the neighboring apartment and used it to attract the zombies' attention, drawing them away from Yoo-bin's door. After this close call, they knew they couldn't stay put and wait for the zombies to die down. Through observation, Yoo-bin noticed that the 8th floor above Joon-woo's apartment seemed to be clear of zombies. They decided to make their way up there. After preparing themselves, Yoo-bin, who had some experience in rock climbing, took the lead. With a single, swift, and daring move, she swung across to the other building, landing gracefully. The area around her was swarming with zombies. She quickly untangled her rope and sprinted towards her destination, using her agility and the sharp knife she carried to evade the relentless zombies. But there were too many of them. While trying to escape, Yoo-bin was knocked down by a zombie. She saw a gun lying nearby and reached for it, but another zombie jumped on her. At the crucial moment, Joon-woo arrived and fought off the zombie, saving her. Together, they ran through the horde of zombies toward the building, using the glass door to block the pursuing undead before entering the elevator and heading straight for the 8th floor. They thought they would be safe there, but when Yoo-bin turned her head, she saw a large group of zombies suddenly appearing and charging towards them. Joon-woo fought fiercely against the zombies while Yoo-bin was pulled into a room by someone. A smoke bomb was thrown, and a masked man came to their rescue. However, Yoo-bin didn't trust the man. He offered them food and water, but despite being ravenously hungry, they were hesitant to eat. Only after the man ate first did they relax their guard and devour the food. The man assured them there was plenty more, and they could hold out until the rescue team arrived. Hearing about a rescue team, they were initially skeptical, but when the man tuned into a broadcast confirming the existence of a rescue operation, they were filled with hope. Little did they know, another disaster was about to strike. Yoo-bin realized something was amiss too late. Joon-woo collapsed. It turned out the man didn't even live there. He had tampered with the food. Yoo-bin also lost consciousness. The man proceeded to tie them up. Yoo-bin was dragged into a room where a zombie was chained, his wife. He still loved her deeply, even in her undead state, and used living humans as her food source. He slowly loosened the rope, sending the zombie lunging towards Yoo-bin. The room filled with her screams. At that moment, Joon-woo regained consciousness. He threatened the man with his gun, demanding he open the door, but the man simply released the rope completely. Joon-woo desperately tried to grab the rope, but he was too late. After a series of blood-curdling screams, the sounds abruptly stopped. The man cautiously opened the door, only to be attacked and devoured by his zombie wife. Now, the twisted couple could be together forever. Unexpectedly, the sound of gunfire attracted the attention of every zombie in the building, and they swarmed into the apartment. Joon-woo and Yoo-bin felt utterly hopeless. Rather than be torn apart by the horde, they decided to take control of their own fate. Just as Joon-woo was about to pull the trigger, the sound of a helicopter filled the air. They looked out the window and saw a rescue helicopter. It was their only chance. They needed to reach the roof. Joon-woo threw out 2 boxes of cigarettes as a distraction, and Yoo-bin pushed a stroller to create a path through the encroaching zombies. They seized the opportunity and ran towards a rooftop, the zombies hot on their heels. Yoo-bin was grabbed by a zombie, but Joon-woo used his motorcycle as a shield, giving her a chance to break free. Joon-woo told her to go to the rooftop and signal for help. When she arrived, the helicopter was nowhere to be seen. Joon-woo fought off the remaining zombies and joined her on the roof. They were trapped, with no escape. Desperate cries for help echoed through the neighborhood. The zombies broke through their last line of defense, cornering them. They were out of ammunition. Just as the zombies were about to overwhelm them, the sound of helicopter blades grew louder. A helicopter appeared, unleashing a barrage of firepower that decimated the zombie horde. Joon-woo and Yoo-bin were rescued and pulled aboard, escaping the terrifying ordeal. Safe at last, they looked at each other and smiled, relieved to have survived. Elsewhere in the city, countless other survivors were enduring similar struggles, waiting for rescue. As long as they continued to fight for survival, there was always hope.